Hello and welcome back to the Starters Podcast. I am Dave Trentadue. That is Simon Tsalikis and that is George Caperis. How's it going, boys?
Good. Just
Doing
testing my smile, Dave.
It's a beautiful smile. Beautiful smile. It's worth a lot of money.
Very nice.
This podcast, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Subscribe to us on YouTube at the Starters 690. We have all sorts of fun stuff on there, so be sure to follow us on all the social medias. And it is brought to you by Club CDL. Check them out at clubcdl.com. They have their summer memberships going. You get a summer membership for $100 off and the entire month of May for free if you sign up now. So check them out, clubcdl.com. All right, boys.
Hey,
ready to-
I was there like a week ago.
Ooh.
Just chilling. I went in to have lunch. I was in the area, and it started to people come. I don't know what's going on. There was a major club championship, like interclub.
Yes.
The rivals from like the West Island were showing up, or from wherever, and things got serious. Women's tennis there. I think it was. I saw only pretty much women, so it must be like a women's tournament. And I can feel the tension. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm not ready for this, man. So good stuff. It looked like it was a great tournament.
Yeah, they have a good ladies interclub program there. They have all sorts. They're very highly ranked, so it's fun to see. And sometimes they host the tournaments, which is really cool as well. All right, question number one. You guys ready to go, boys?
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right, question number one, brought to you by Cunningham's Pub. Cunningham's Pub. Check them out at Cunningham's Pub on Instagram. They're on Facebook as well. I saw for Good Friday they posted some pictures of their fish and chips. Looks absolutely delicious. I don't know. I mean, I'm a chicken wing guy, so I've been going chicken wings my whole life there. But maybe I have to check them out. They have focaccia, all sorts of stuff that they were showing off for Good Friday and Easter weekend. So check them out at Cunningham's Pub on Instagram. All right. So question number one, gentlemen, Caitlin Clark. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the tickets. The average ticket price to get into that building for the Final Four is at $2,650 currently, and the most expensive ticket is going for $11,100. And obviously, everyone wants to see Caitlin Clark and the magic that she and Iowa are doing. So I just want to know, guys, follow the hype if you guys buy into it. Is Caitlin Clark the best female athlete right now?
It's those ticket prices are crazy, but I don't think that's the shocking number, because that's just people wanting to say that they were there, right? The shocking number was over 13 million people watched, including myself. I play basketball on Monday nights, and we have a group chat, to make sure who's coming, who's not coming. Two dudes said, "Sorry, boys, basketball lifers, these guys. I want to watch Iowa LSU." I got home for the second half of that game. It was riveting. It was fantastic. More people watched that than any other women's basketball match ever. And look, she's must watch. And I got to say, the fact that there's, I don't know, like, I don't think there's an Annika Sorenstam killing the LPGA Tour. I don't think there's a Serena out there just winning relentlessly on the women's side on tennis. I don't know, George might be a little bit better versed than me when it comes to women's track and field. So I got to say, yeah, man, she's breaking every single record. She chucked up 9 made threes in the Elite Eight against a prominent opponent. It's not just that she can score, she can facilitate, she can do everything, she can play D. I got to say, yeah, Marie-Philippe Poulain's got her moments, and those are, those golden goals and stuff like that. But it's not like Marie-Philippe Poulain is, turning the PWHL on their head when it comes to just ridiculous scoring totals. She's still a great player, quality hockey player. But Caitlin Clark is leaving nothing to the imagination, man. She just goes out there, she balls, she puts up these mad numbers, 41 when it mattered the most. So I got to say, yeah, I got to say right now, she is the best female athlete. And it's scary because she's not in the best women's league in the world, right? So there are WNBA players that are better than her. I guess there are, but I don't know how dominant they are, like the way she's dominating.
George?
Look, as far as I can remember, whether we go back to Diana Taurasi or Brittany Griner or Cheryl Swoops, we've seen phenoms come through, but nothing of the Caitlin Clark level of what we're seeing now. She is single-handedly, I would tell you, legitimizing women's basketball. When you get 13 million people to watch an NCAA Elite Eight female game, I think this is unheard of. And not only did she put up 41, the manner in which she put up 41, Simon and Dave, was completely insane. I mean, she's chucking shots from just about anywhere and sinking them. And she's doing it against the defending national champions, who, by the way, had a couple of really good players on their squad as well. What Caitlin Clark is doing is unprecedented in the manner she's doing it and in the size she's doing it. It is a staggering amount of eyeballs she's brought to the sport. I'm the kind of guy that you're trying to get to watch these games, right? I am a kind of one of those guys that I'm going to watch if there's a reason to watch. Otherwise, I'm not going to watch. And I'm going to watch. I watched the Elite Eight. I'm going to watch the Final Four. Simon said it best. It's must-watch TV. And what we're seeing from Caitlin Clark is a whole other level. She's absolutely right now, I would tell you, the best female athlete in the world, just on the numbers she's able to produce.
And it's hard to win at Iowa. It's not hard. I take nothing away. It's not hard to win football at Alabama. It's not hard to win football at Georgia. It's not hard to win basketball at UConn or hockey at Michigan. It's hard to get other good players to come to play with you in Iowa. Right. It's not a glamour program, right? It's like somebody, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like the Minnesota Golden Gophers in football winning the Big Ten. It's hard to get people to come to Minnesota that play sports, play football at a high level. So the fact that she's got an Iowa program, kind of like LeBron did, I always say that, winning a championship in Cleveland is a lot more difficult than winning a championship with the Lakers. You got to get people to come there, and you got to get people to buy in, and she's done all that. So kudos to her, man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll move on to the next question, question number 2. And this one is brought to you by Christina's Cuisine, of course, a new sponsor for us here. Their food is just absolutely phenomenal. They're a cool spot in Laval. They're on Uber Eats as well, so check them out. I mean, it just looks everything. If you can follow them at Christina's Cuisine on Instagram, and everything they do, it's mouth-watering. It's authentic Greek food, and you can check them out. They're at 4367 Notre Dame in Laval, and it's just absolutely.
And Christina's there. Mom is there on site, overlooking the daily menu. A friend of mine, George, is her son. That's the connection to the starters here. And if you walk in every single day, there's the menu, the classic menu, like you walk into any restaurant, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that are prepared daily. A lot of them classic Greek cuisine that I don't think you can find in many places. And they have it there. Cute little place, not overly large, quaint. Make your reservations, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Looking forward to our starters dinner at Christina's.
I don't think you can beat homemade Greek mom food. I think that is a top echelon stuff.
Yeah, tops.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. So check them out at Christina's Cuisine, and check them out on Uber Eats as well, because you don't even have to step foot out of your house if you really don't want, and you can get that authentic Greek cuisine. All right, so the NFL draft, boys, coming up April 25th. And the allure of the draft is what's going to happen, and the moving, who's going to move, and what teams are going to make a splash. So I just want to know, very simple, what NFL team needs to trade up in the draft to ensure that they draft a quarterback.
That's looking at it, I really wonder if the New England Patriots can get away without getting a quarterback and not getting one of the top 2 quarterbacks right now. Mm-hmm. I just think they've whiffed when it came to Mac Jones. Obviously, that didn't work out. They shipped him out. Can they get a Drake May, who has a super high ceiling, many saying higher ceiling than even Caleb Williams, but everyone worries about the floor when it comes to Drake May. So I just feel where the Patriots are right now, they're going to need to do something. Now, does that mean they move up and try to get Jane Daniels, who is the projected number 2 guy to go right now, or they sit back and they do take Drake May. I just think the Patriots need to do something, and if it's not to trade up, they will need to trade down and get a quarterback somewhere. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I worry about the Patriots drafting Drake May. There's so many questions here. I don't know. It's going to be them, or it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings, who obviously are looking at J.J. McCarthy really close. I think those are going to be the 2 teams to look at here.
I like both those answers, but my answer is the Minnesota Vikings, because look, the Patriots can draft a quarterback. I think they're in desperate need of a quarterback, but they're not really in immediate win mode. You got a new coach. He can settle in. He's got a little bit of rope, probably a year, 2, maybe even 3 to figure things out. But the Vikings were a team that won, 14 games 2 years ago, were a bubble playoff team last year, are elite at the wide receiver position. I'm not going to say elite at the tight end position, but pretty damn good. It always seems like they got a good run game. If they can figure out defense just a little bit, I think they're in desperate need of a quarterback. I don't know how you can sell it to Justin Jefferson and the other group of wide receivers that you're going to go into this season with who? Like, I don't even know I honestly do not know who their quarterback is right now. And whoever it is isn't good enough, doesn't match the stature that they have at the skill positions. So I don't think you want to waste the year of Justin Jefferson. Was it Addison is the other kid that's there from USC? So that's a good group of wide receivers. Tight end, like I said, you can move the sticks. You can't just go out there and run somebody out there that has no cred. So the Patriots, I don't know if they can wait. They shouldn't. But even if they were to draft a quarterback, I don't think the light is at the end of the tunnel just yet. But for the Vikings, you slide somebody in and you can produce at that quarterback position. The Bears can be beat. The Lions, okay, they're a good team, but they're not running away with the division, and neither are the Packers. The division is in play for the Vikings. Even with whoever they get at quarterback for the Patriots, the division is not in play. So I think the Vikings got to do something to strengthen up.
I don't disagree. The only reason I'm not going to be full on the Vikings here is because I think the Vikings have a lot to do to trade up to get to like 5 or 6 to get McCarthy, where Drake May is sitting at 3 for the Patriots, making a move to get Jaden Daniels that apparently they really like. A lot less difficult to go from 3 to 2. However, Washington does need a quarterback as well, so that makes it a little bit more difficult than the Minnesota Vikings to move up all the way to 5. That's the only reason might be tough.
All right, and we'll talk a lot more NFL draft, obviously, in the coming weeks as they come. But for now, we're going to switch things over to hockey for question number 3, brought to you by Fresh MTL. And this Saturday, Fresh MTL turns 10 years old for Fresh MTL. They're having a big blast. Barbecue, music, games. DJ Kirky will be there, the one and only. I don't know what DJ sound what the kids are doing these days, but that is what they're doing. It's from noon to 4 p.m. So we want to.
I went to get I had my little notes here, Dave, so I know that you're on the ball. So good stuff. Yeah, I'll be there from. I'm not sure, I won't be there from 12 to 4, but I'll definitely be there right around 1 o'clock.
Nice.
Looking forward to seeing the crew. Hope the weather holds out. It should be nice on Saturday. Probably a little bit of slush on the ground and everything. But Dave, you say barbecue, you say DJ. Just point me in the direction, my friend.
Nice. All right. Well, so everyone good there. You can check them out at Fresh MTL if you want more details. They have all the details there on Instagram. So check them out there, but it should be fun. All right, guys, we're almost done the NHL season, right? It's almost a wrap. And there's a few candidates. I guess, I don't know, a lot is stretching it a bit, but a few candidates there. So I just want to know, who is your NHL MVP?
I think Matthews scored again, so he's at 63.
Yeah.
If he can get a run and get ahead of the Panthers, I think you got to throw him in the mix. Poor Nikita Kucherov's going to finish with like 190 points. Nobody ever brings up the guy's name because we don't like him because he dogs it at an all-star game. Like, I'm not sure what more this guy needs to do. I think Nathan McKinnon takes a little bit of a hit because the Dallas Stars, last I checked, winners of 7 or 8 in a row, or 7 of their last 8. So they kind of jump the Avalanche in that division, so maybe McKinnon takes a little bit of a hit. But I just think it's Connor McDavid. Again, I know that he plays with a great player, but just, we're going to get to 100 assists. We're going to get to 50 goals. Whatever. These just numbers that are just ridiculous.
Bad start, too, to the year.
A sluggish start. Not the first. Yeah, he turned it on kind of like game 15. But when you put up these ridiculous numbers, like you lose those 10, 12 games, it's usually you don't get back to that point total. I'm just going to say if it wasn't for a 7-game losing streak or something along those lines, or the Winnipeg Jets, Connor Hellebuck, to me, should have been in the mix in that conversation. You want to throw a goalie in there. I think if you're going to, I know that sometimes we don't give them enough when it comes to the Hart Trophy nominations. They have their own trophy. But I thought Hellebuck, and look, they can still finish strong, but, putting a 7-game skid as we get closer to voting here, maybe hurts a little bit of his chances. So if I had to put him 1, 2, 3, I would put McDavid at 1. I would put Kucherov at 2, McKinnon at 3, Matthews at 4. And I think if you reverse that, I wouldn't have a problem with that either. But I'll go with McDavid.
All right. George?
I'm going to say Kucherov's not even in my top 3. The only reason not only does he dog it at All-Star games, he also doesn't play full seasons very often.
Well, he did this year, George.
Yes, he did this year, absolutely. And
the award is this year, not a lifetime.
No, I know. I love holding grudges. You know me. So the other thing is he also plays with some pretty good hockey players as well. So does Nathan McKinnon. When you think about it, he's on a line with Rantanen, so they all have support. But Connor McDavid is the best hockey player, and I feel that award needs to go to the most valuable player of his team. So I look at Kucherov not there. Tampa Bay probably still a playoff team. They'll be pretty good. Toronto without Austin Matthews, they'll probably get in somehow. They have enough talent to get in there. Connor McDavid not there for the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know. He generates so much, and I understand he plays with Leon Draisaitl. But my argument would be where would the Edmonton Oilers be without Connor McDavid? You're removing probably, he's involved in at least I'd say half of the offense that's going on. I mean, it's insane. Not only with the primary or secondary assist, but just how he gets into the offensive zone, the amount of people that he generates that have to cover him. Connor McDavid is the best player in the NHL, should win the Hart Trophy, but I don't think he will. The interesting part is I believe Nathan McKinnon is going to win the trophy because Connor McDavid won it last year, and writers are funny that way, and I think he's going to get the majority of the votes. But if I had a vote, and I do not have a vote, because obviously I'd be raked through the coals for not having Kucherov on my ballot, I would say it's Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I think every sport kind of stuff does it, but the NHL is the worst at it.
The worst.
Spreading out the wins. Like these Norris caliber defensemen, if they haven't won in a while, they'll eventually pick it up, even if it's not their best season. They're notorious for that. I mean, I think you're right. I mean,
I don't want to take away from a brilliant hockey player, but like the Patrice Bergeron winning Selke trophies all the time, which I'm sure were pretty much deserved. But like my question to the voters of the Selke Trophy is, let me ask you something. How many times have you stayed up to watch any game? If you live on the East Coast, how many times have you covered the team you covered or the team you watch is done around 9:30, 9:45? If you're in the media, you got to file a story. If you're in the media, you got to be at the rink. How many times have you gone home and done a deep dive on West Coast teams, not their brilliance at scoring like McDavid and McKinnon, or Elias Pettersson, or anything, broken down tape on defensive shutdown centers in the West Coast. So I don't want to just pick any writer. Don't say a name. Lives in Montreal, covers the Habs, and he gets to vote on the Selke Trophy. I'm like, dude, how many times did you watch somebody and like, let me rewind that. Let me rewind that. The Selke Trophy, God bless Patrice Bergeron, first ballot Hall of Famer, brilliant at what he does. But the fact that they kept giving him an award, like, how? You're not breaking down film on the other side of guys being defensive centers. The worst award. Again.
Well, I mean, they did this right with Guy Carbonneau back in the day. So Guy Carbonneau would win the Selke all the time.
I just find like you
this
can
is-
tune in, if you can tune into the West Coast and identify Roman Josi as being brilliant. Quinn Hughes, brilliant. Cale McCaw, brilliant. It takes 2 seconds, and you tune in to watch brilliance. None of us are tuning in and dissecting defensive centers or offensive centers in the show.
Dave and I actually do that every Thursday. We sit down and just break down defensive centers.
Last time I checked, I watched TSN on a nightly basis, and then I watched TSN in the morning. Never in my life,
no defensive highlights. No.
A highlight of a Kopitar shutting somebody down, Yzerman shutting somebody down, Sakic shutting somebody. It's never happened. Ever. Fraudulent award.
Nice.
You know, you should let vote on that award. Take the top 50 goal scorers in the NHL and let
That's a
them.
good point. That's a good point.
Let Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Nathan McKinnon. I want to hear it from I want to hear it from Pasta. I don't want to hear it from some guy who covers the Devils and watches one West Coast game a week. Let me ask those guys who the best defensive set. And I'm sure they'll probably tell you. A lot of times it's Patrice Bergeron.
Right.
I question all the in a row.
I love it, Simon. I love the passion. Let's put it to a vote. Maybe we could talk to somebody up in the NHL and get some changes made around here. All right, let's keep it hockey. Go to question number 4, brought to you by EA Fitness. Check them out, eafitness.inc on Instagram. I mean, they're just a dedicated team of trainers who they're there to help you reach whatever goal you're looking for. They have personalized training, all sorts, and they do motivational quotes on their Instagram. This week's was the only bad workout is the one you didn't do, and I'm going to tell you guys, I had a bad workout this weekend. So
I'm sure you had several, Dave.
Several. So
if you're watching this podcast on a Thursday or Friday or Saturday morning, there's a boot camp that I attend every Saturday from 10:30 in the morning to 11:15. It's a great sweat. So it's enjoyable. A little bit different. I go to the gym a couple of times. I still play my basketball, but it's a whole bunch of muscles that I thought I'm using on a daily basis, but clearly I am not.
And you can actually try their boot camps because they have boot camps also on Tuesday and Thursday nights, yes. And you can actually try them for free. So just follow them on eafitness.inc. You'll get all the information there, and it's they're actually a pretty cool place. So check them out for sure. All right, so basically the Habs season coming to a close just as the NHL season is. They're in that 5th to 7th worst team / drafting spot this year once again. So my question is simple. You look at this year, look at last year. Are the Habs better this season than they were last year?
They're exactly the same. They're definitely Suzuki is, I think, has clearly come into his own as a first-line center. He's got 71 points, got 32 goals. He's a point-a-game player, which we haven't had in I don't know how many years. He's definitely taking the step forward. Slavkovsky, I haven't been this excited about a player that's 20 years old with the Canadiens in a very long time.
Shell Dahlin.
Yeah, probably Shell Dahlin, which unfortunately flamed out after a year. But it's been a long time since I've been excited about such a young player who's managed to put up 42 points. You know, people forget. I think Jagr put up 50 points his first season playing with Mario Lemieux. So what Slavkovsky is doing, playing first-line minutes with Nick Suzuki, is quite impressive. And the future is very bright with Slavkovsky. I love Mike Matheson. I think he's just an anchor for this team. He's a fantastic two-way defenseman. I love what he brings. Then it gets dark, and it gets dark super fast because right now, if you look at the Montreal Canadiens, the 5th leading scorer on the team is a guy that played 49 games and was traded to the Jets. It's rough. I mean, Josh Anderson's got 18 points in 70 games. This is a complete disaster. Brendan Gallagher is going to have to reinvent himself and find a new role on this team because he's got 21 points in 69 games. There's no offense really coming from anywhere. This is not an improved team. This is the same team we had last year with players getting a year older, a little bit more experience. However, there's still parts missing. We're not even convinced on who the starting goalie is going to be next year. Caden Primo seems to have come into his own. Montebo is okay. I don't know who's going to be the starting goalie. We don't know what's going to happen, with Kirby Dach. I would say we're in a wait and see. But in my universe, where I'm living right now and I'm looking at this, I wouldn't be all that surprised if they struggle next year. And I wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs either, if they manage to get, a goal-scoring winger and solidify the back end a little bit with one of these rookies that just has a great season. But it wouldn't be all that surprising if next year at this time we're talking about how this team has 29 wins. It's very possible. So I'd say it's status quo right now.
All right, Simon?
No, I think there's tons of improvement. Just watching that game against the Florida Panthers yesterday, got pushed around for a little bit, and then they pushed back. So I like a little bit of that Wolfpack mentality that they've had. I don't think they're the Milan Lucic, Zdeno Chara Bruins or anything like that, but I think they have a little bit more bite back than they've had the last few years. I think your guys have progressed. I think Kaden Guhle's had a good year. Considering last year he was injured and he came back this year and he gets to play serious minutes, I think he's been good. I agree with George Matheson. I think he needs a little bit better in his own end, but going forward and skating and just taking on difficult assignments as well, I think you can check that box. I think you can check Jack-Eye as a box of a guy that's in the top six, which I didn't think was going to happen, especially when they sent him down to Laval. I didn't have a problem. I didn't think he was playing well at all at the NHL level. He comes back. I think he can be a regular. Just to look a little bit on the farm, I think Joshua Roy was a player. Bottom six, there's some. I think it gets better with Joshua Roy than it does with, the last few years. Whether it's the Raphael Harvey-Pinard or the Mike Hoffmans or the Jonathan Drouins, I think there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel with your bottom six. Logan Mailloux is having a great year in the American Hockey League. Lane Hudson's still a couple of years away, and I also think you can check the boxes when it comes to your goaltending, which going into a season, you're carrying 3 goalies. I don't think you can check that box. And I think now that you've gotten 2, I think the blue line gets a little bit better. The team gets a little bit better. I think the goaltending numbers will get a little bit better as well. But, yes, it doesn't – if I had to bet a buck right now, I don't know if they're a playoff team next year, because I still look at some of the teams like I don't see the Bruins going away, the Leafs going away, the Panthers going away. The Lightning, maybe eventually age will get to the better of them. Red Wings, Senators, Sabres, all young teams completely unproven. So it's a dogfight in there. There's going to be good teams like the Islanders that, pretty good team, not a great team, pretty good team. St. Louis as well. They're not going to make the playoffs, right? But I do got to say, I think I'm happy with the progression. A lot of work to be done, but you can check off you got yourselves the making of a top line. You've got yourself the making of a power forward. Cole Caulfield's got to get off that 20 number and he's got to start hovering closer to that 30 number. But I think some pieces are in play. Kirby Dach is a big deal. I think Newhook's a good player. Is he a top 6? I don't know. Maybe Dach, nice free agent or somebody, and then Newhook becomes your 3rd best player on your second line. Yeah, I think you're better as a collective. So I'm happy. And I saw Brian Wild tweet this, and he mentioned this on the starters on Sunday. I believe there's 22 1-goal losses. And then there's another 8 games that the opposition buried the puck into an empty net. So that means that game was close as well. So that's 30 games that were in and around a goal. You get a little bit better goal, you get a little bit better offense. You can turn those 22 losses maybe into, hey, man, you turn them into 16 losses. That's 12 more points. Still not a playoff team, but I do like the progression. But there's work to do.
If I can interject here, at the end of the day in professional sports, the only thing that really matters are wins and losses. And the reality of the thing is they have 29 wins. They had 35 last year. It's difficult to say they're a better hockey team. I hear what you're saying. I hear the markers that they've hit. They're in hockey games. I get
there that, Mike Hoffman, Jonathan Drouin got you 35 wins. I'd rather have 29 wins with this squad.
Simon, I see what you're saying, and I don't disagree in that the path looks better, right? Like if we're projecting forward, it looks better.
There's a little bit of menage being done last year, and this has to continue again.
Yeah, I just think are the Canadians better? Oof, it's such a difficult question because the wins aren't there. They're one-loss games, but next year if we're saying the same thing, we're gonna be pretty disappointed. So
I think that they've been in a lot more games this year.
You're right, absolutely, 100%. We agree on that, 100%.
You beat Florida, you beat the Avalanche. I know those are just 2 victories, but the fact that I watch them 82 times a year and whatever number they're at now, 73 games played or whatever the number is, I can count on my hands the times they got run out of the gym.
It hasn't happened much this year. That part I agree with, but at the end of the day, we're going to be saying
the more victories will end eventually.
You need to get wins. So next year, you can't come to me and tell me 30 wins and tell me the Montreal Canadiens are a better hockey team because that progression won't matter. I need wins next year.
Fair enough. All right, boys. Let's wrap this up here. Question number 5 brought to you by Resto Vivaldi, the best bring your own wine restaurant in all of Montreal, located in the West Island in Pierrefonds. So check them out at Resto Vivaldi and tell Steve and Dave that the starters sent you. All right, question number 5. The MLB underway, about a week in the season. It's pretty good so far. Some good baseball to be shown, but the storyline dominating the beginning of the season was, of course, Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter being, I don't know, stealing his money. Who knows what the real story is? And that's basically my question, because there's so many. I mean, everyone's heard what happened, and the Dodgers terminated his interpreter, and the story kind of changed depending on who you asked. So I just want to know, do you believe Shohei Ohtani?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say I believe him. I believe that the interpreter there was. I don't know about like skimming the money. I think that was thrown in there because you're not allowed to be wiring bookies money in California. That's actually like a serious penalty to that. So I think they had to backtrack on that. Like bookie called and said, "Listen, your boy can't pick a winner in a 1-horse race. He's down $4 million, and somebody's got to cover these bets." And he might have done that and he covered those bets because he's a friend or whatever. And then they can realize, like, you can't wire money like that in Vegas. I think it's one of the few states that still there is no legalized gambling, right? So I'm going to say I do believe. I'm not willing to wager my Michael Ballocks, but I'll say I believe him for now.
Look, I wanted to believe Pete Rose, too. I really did. Like, it was Charlie Hustle. I mean, I can remember watching the press conference and saying, I want to believe that Pete Rose didn't bet, and he bet. It's tough. This one's tough. Shohei Ohtani is a generational, once-in-a-lifetime, if you want, superstar at this sport. He can do it all. He's must-watch TV whenever he plays. I just don't know what to think in this. It's so hard when you're hearing and seeing all these, alleged now that lately, latest report is that he was possibly placing bets on Penn State baseball and things like this. This is coming out of I don't know. If you're betting on Penn State baseball, you may have a gambling problem. I'm just saying. It's getting pretty serious then. All jokes aside, I really hope it's not true. I think if for some reason, and I've always wondered why, baseball seems to just get beat up. So the funny thing is, like in the early 2000s, late 1990s, and the whole steroid thing, and we won't get into the histrionics of it, but baseball was raked through the coals for steroids. However, when I watch football, I see some physiques there that are looking pretty interesting, and I'm like, football seems to get a pass on the steroids, yet baseball gets raked over the coals. Gambling, we've had numerous NFL players suspended for gambling. Numerous. We've had numerous NBA players suspended for gambling. We've had numerous NHL players this year suspended for gambling. Yet, here again, Major League Baseball, the focus, the national media's attention is on the Shohei Ohtani gambling crisis, if you will. And
because I think that, like, Calvin Ridley got a year, right?
Yeah, he got a year.
Well, if he gets caught, like I read that if he gets caught gambling, Shohei Ohtani, it's a 1 year. If he gets caught, if there's proof that he gambled on baseball, it's a lifetime
ban. That's right.
So I think maybe that's why baseball players are like, like maybe you're more NFL guys because it's not a lifetime.
And it's also right in the clubhouse. In every clubhouse, there's you can't bet on baseball. So it's in every clubhouse. And there's been, we'll go back to the 1912 White Sox and Shoeless Joe Jackson. We know there's been some pretty serious gambling incidents in baseball. But it's interesting how baseball seems to get raked through the coals when this is not a baseball problem. It's clearly a professional sports problem. And maybe if these leagues were not in cahoots with all these gambling sites and trying to make revenue by putting teams in Las Vegas, they wouldn't have such an issue with all the gambling. But I digress. I'll say I hope it's not true. I'll wait to see what else comes out of this. There's some really good writers that are in the middle of this, and they're going to, forensically do some forensic journalism, if you will, and get to the bottom of this. And I know one thing is that when you have excellent writers in baseball, and they're going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb, and hopefully Shohei comes out smelling like roses, and it's all his his interpreter, like it was Wayne Gretzky's wife, hopefully.
Well said. All right, we'll end it on there. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, George. Check us out at the Starter 690 on all the social media platforms, and subscribe. Click that subscribe button right now. Thanks, boys.
Ciao, boys.
Take care.